There are many reasons why a game can be bad: poor level design, horrible visuals, stiff controls, the list goes on. But it is always the most disappointing when a game has so much going for it but just misses from being great. When a ton of good ideas are overshadowed by one or two major flaws to the point that the game becomes bad. In this video, I'll be looking at the top 10 near misses of the current generation in video games to remind us how depressing it is to be so near yet so far. Before I start, I will have to say that this is my own personal list, so if you disagree with me, then feel free to leave a comment below and potentially argue with someone from a different country that you don't even know. Also, there is a large 360 bias here, as that is the console I'll mostly be playing. Alright, let's just get started. At number 10 is Final Fantasy 13. I won't lie, I'm not the biggest RPG fan, but I've always kept my eye on the Final Fantasy series after playing the fantastic Final Fantasy X back on the PS2. After playing Final Fantasy 13 though, I had mixed impressions. I know that the battle system has split a lot of fans, but personally I enjoyed it. Having turn-based combat mixed with the dynamic paradigm system reminds me of how the fights in Chrono Trigger flowed. However, it's hard to ignore all the bad decisions in this game. First of all being the first disc, in which the game takes 5 hours to set up its story. You could be in the middle of the 2 towers before this story decides to properly start. The fact that the leveling up doesn't start till disc 2 doesn't help this at all. Once you hit disc 3 though, things take another downhill turn, where you find yourself mostly walking through a dull open world. This game needed a team that was more focused on gameplay and actual level design than the story and the cutscenes. If that team existed, we would have had a truly great Final Fantasy game here. At number 9 is Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 version. Of course, this game falls flat in so many areas that it's pretty hard to defend at all. The glitches are embarrassing and the story is all over the place, especially in the bestiality department. If you look at this game though, there is potential here for a true Sonic Adventure 3. It was ambitious, had a nice variety to the levels, and actually focused on the hedgehogs rather than Big the Cat. We all know the story behind this game though. Sega wanted it out before Christmas, so rushed Sonic Team, resulting in this buggy mess that we have now. In another world, the phrase, "gotta speed up," might have been music to our ears. At number 8 is Perfect Dark Zero for the Xbox 360. Despite their recent years, Rare will always be one of my favourite game developers. Back in 2005 though, Rare was still hanging on with some credibility. Surely they couldn't ruin making a sequel to the now almost cult classic Perfect Dark though, right? Right? I mean, they did a great job with Donkey Kong Country 2 and Banjo-Tooie. Unfortunately for anyone who rushed out to buy a 360 at launch, they would be disappointed with not a bad game, just not a good one. The multiplayer wasn't that fun, especially how the Microsoft kids were playing Halo 2 at the time, and the story didn't have a single memorable moment. At least Rare's current sequels are good though. Right? Again, right? At number 7 is SpiderMan 3. Spider-Man 2 for me ranks as one of the best film video games along with classics such as GoldenEye. It understood the character of Spider-Man and created a fun gameplay experience around that. It was also the first sandbox game I really enjoyed, and I couldn't wait for a sequel on next generation consoles. Oh dear, something bad has happened. Everything was taken from Spider-Man 2, but was made 10 times worse. Exploration was no longer fun, the missions dragged on, and the combat was painful. The reason I include it though as a near miss is because there's so much they could have done on the PlayStation 3 and 360, and it did have a lot of features from the original Spider-Man 2. I could see the game that I really enjoyed when I was playing Spider-Man 3, it was just lost in this technical mess. I'm sure though that whoever made it crashed and burned by now. Oh, wow, who knew? And number 6 is Metroid Other M. At the point of making this video, Metroid Other M has seemed to have killed off one of the greatest Nintendo franchises. It's been 2 years, guys. I think it's time for a sequel. Nintendo decided to take another risk with the Metroid series, like they did with Retro Studios, and let Team Ninja develop the next Metroid game. What came out was one of the biggest misunderstandings of a series since Silent Hill Book of Memories. It's strange though, because they could have pulled it off if they weren't so Japanese. The gameplay wasn't that bad, despite what certain fans say, and it was a good attempt on making Metroid 3D in a different way to Retro. It's the story here and the characters Samus and Adam that make this game painful. Watching some arsehole abusing video game is bad at this female is not engrossing. I did think that the Ridley story idea was cool. It's just a shame that it was brought down by the Japanese hatred for women.
We're running out rooftop! We can make it! Go, go, go!
At number 5 is the Lego games. Okay, it's probably cheating to have a whole game series on here rather than just one game, but all the recent Lego games suffer the same problem, so I'm going to allow it. The original Lego Star Wars was a surprise hit back in 2005 with its charm, humour and enjoyable gameplay. Here we are in 2012 though, with a crazy amount of Lego games later, and something has definitely gone wrong. The recent games, while the charm and humour is still present, the gameplay is frustrating. Puzzles feel more like smashing your head into a wall, and collecting is more confusing than it needs to be. If they kept everything simple like the first one, we would have a great series of games to play here, but as it stands, only kids can be amused enough by Lego to beat them. Unless there's Lego Jar Jar. That guy's hilarious.
We're running out rooftop! We can make it! Go, go, go!
And number 4 is Dead Space 2. It's weird to be talking about a game like this after the Lego games, but let's admit it, Lego Dobby is scarier than anything in Dead Space 2. This generation had EA taking a surprisingly large amount of risk after the bad reputation they got in the PS2 days, and one of them turned out to be Dead Space, an action horror game. I probably should be looking at Dead Space 1, but 2 is the one that got all the great reviews, so it's the one I'm going to be looking at. The main problem I have with Dead Space 2 is that it creates a quite tense atmosphere for most of the game, but has no idea how to create scares. They show you people being killed and have monsters jumping out at you, but nothing to make you legitimately scared or paranoid. I guess to make up for this, the game has a large amount of action scenes and will have large groups of enemies attacking you. If the game committed to action rather than hanging on to horror, it would be fun, but instead you have to put up with Resident Evil 4's control scheme, where it doesn't fit. Resident Evil 4's tank-like controls worked because of how the enemies moved. They attacked in a certain way, and it meant that the player had to decide whether to jump in and out of aim mode at certain points as enemies approached you in hordes, so it made for fun fights overall. Here the alien things just run at you, and you will get attacked cheaply many times by multiple enemies as you struggle to take them all out. Oh, and no, you can't just run away from these things, so you have to kill them every time. There's still a lot here in this game that works with the atmosphere. It's just a shame the gore gunplay falls flat.
We're running out rooftop! We can make it! Go, go, go!
And number 3 is Sonic Unleashed. Sure, I probably shouldn't have 2 Sonic games on this list, but I seriously think Sonic Team has come close to true greatness over the last few years. Sonic Unleashed was the first attempt to respond to fans' demands of make something good, so featured awesome 3D Sonic levels where you run and boost your way to the goal. It's just a shame about everything else. The Hedgehog was not a terrible idea, but the execution was awful. Platforming was dull, levels dragged on, and that fighting music. It certainly haunts me in my dreams. It's the worst thing since the Japanese, if you ask me. The large padding device that is the Sun and Moon medals only helped to drag the whole game down. The daytime levels are so good that if they were the main focus, Werewolf levels were tighter and the medal collection was completely removed, this would have been the best Sonic game in years.
We're running out rooftop! We can make it! Go, go, go!
And number 2 is Halo Wars. I'm sure putting this at number 2 won't be too popular, but it really could have been so much more. This Halo spin-off replaces the FPS gameplay with RTS and tries to make it work on a home console. It's not the controls here that are the problem, however, but the basic gameplay that causes it to be a bad game. Base expansion is very limited, removing half the fun of an RTS, and the story missions range from boring to frustrating. It's the reason it's on this list though is because of two things. First, it's Halo. Halo has such a large universe and there's so much more they could have done here. And number two, it was Ensemble Studios who made this. These guys made the Age of Empires series, so these guys are the king of the RTS. And you just think they could have done a whole lot more. They probably wanted to keep it basic for all the Halo loving console gamers, but even they didn't really like it, because they couldn't poon the noobs with their rocket launchers. This turned out to be Ensemble Studios' swan song, as they were shut down after it was released, which is a shame because a Halo 2 on a PC could have been amazing.
We're running out rooftop! We can make it! Go, go, go!
At number 1 is Borderlands. Do you ever play a game that has large flaws which makes it unfun to play, but no one else agrees with you, or even really cares? Well, that was my experience with me and my friends when Borderlands came out. It's an amazing game, they said. It's so much fun, they said. So of course I brought it and saw something both great and terrible at the same time. Borderlands is built on a lot of solid ideas, a large amount of guns, a MMO style of FPS with online co-op for consoles, and some well executed RPG elements. This game also had an original art style and is filled with creativity from start to finish. So where does it go wrong? The missions. Thanks to both a fake map marker system and a weirdly confusing world design, I had a horrible time playing the majority of these missions here. The number of hours I wasted searching for a certain quest item, end up looking it up online and being annoyed at the answer is crazy. It doesn't help that gunfights can just be as frustrating when large group of enemies surround you and jump at your face while you're trying to use the loose aiming to fight back. This could have been one of my favourite 360 games, but as it stands, it feels like it was made by amateurs who barely tested playing it. Maybe the sequel will be better, but I doubt it due to the large praise the original got, and Gearbox aren't exactly the best company around. So that's it for this list of my top 10 near misses in video games, 7th generation. If you have any of your own ideas, feel free to leave a comment once again, and I want to repeat myself that this is my own personal opinion. And the chances are, if I didn't include a game that you really felt should have been on this list, I probably haven't played it or even really heard of it. I'm sure there's lots of other examples, but this was just my own list. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out my other videos, give this one a like, and maybe subscribe to my channel. That would be okay. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.